All right, everybody. How y'all doing today? It's Kenny Smith, Total Force Holdings. First off, I'm going to shamelessly plug my Patreon channel, okay? If you're watching this on YouTube, Patreon saw this no less than a month before you did. So there's that. $1 a month gets you access to my written work. $3 a month gets you access to my written work and early access to the full-length videos that go on YouTube. And $5 a month gets you both of those. Plus, when it's sustaining itself, I'll do a random giveaway from my $5 a month subscribers and pay for their tuition to go to Tactical Response Fighting Pistol. So if you want to check that out, I'd obviously appreciate it. But if you don't want to check it out, not in a position to be able to subscribe to it, don't want to subscribe to it, I'm fine with watching on here. I totally get it. Filming this November of 2022, specifically November 16th. Yep, double check my date real quick. And it's starting to get cold. All right. We're going to get our first below freezing temperatures this week, and it's got me thinking about a few things that y'all might benefit from. When the weather changes, your concealed carry setup may very well be impacted by it. And we're going to start on the gun stuff first. First off, when it's like this, right now it's right around 50. I put this jacket on just for the sake of video. Truth be told, I've been wearing this little fleece all day, but just for the sake of video, I put this one on. So, yeah. Right now, you can get away with like an open front jacket, okay? And the cool thing about an open front jacket, clear, right, is I can get away with my shoulder rig. I like shoulder rigs, but I understand not everybody likes them. I personally do, especially in this kind of weather. And here's why. If I zip my jacket up, and I wear jackets cut like this quite a bit, I've got this elasticized bottom, which pulls tight to the body. So carrying on the hip can be problematic, right? Even getting to my trusty appendix holster, I've got a lot of material, and I'm more likely to grab here and not be able to rip it up high enough to guarantee I get clear of the gun. So with a shoulder holster, if I'm worried about an issue, I can go ahead and knock that down, even if it's zipped up. Or check this out, right? I can go ahead, as I'm bringing this up, pull this down and knife hand in to get to my shoulder rig, okay? Ideally, if you know, because of good pre-assault indicator reading and things of that go into it, if you know there's liable to be trouble, something catches your attention, go ahead and pull that down, right? Now, when you bring your arm up, this hand goes under, break your thumb break, there, right? Pull to your chest, all right? You notice my lines here? My arm, the cut of my jacket is in line with the muzzle, but my arm is not, right? Bring here, turn my body, press out, and go to work. This kind of weather, you can get away with using a shoulder holster. Hot weather. All right. So, if you're like me and you kind of like the shoulder holster, this kind of weather, it's your friend. All right. The shoulder holster does allow you to carry a quite good sized weapon and extra ammunition. I know, black mag pouch on black jacket. As far as the maker of this shoulder holster, if anybody's wondering, it's nothing special. I got it at an event in Collinsville, Alabama called Trade Day. It's like a big flea market. What I did was I took one of the Kydex inside the waistband holsters that I made myself when I first got my U-boat for my Glock 17 here. And I put that in there as kind of a test concept. Is it ideal? No, but so far it's held up pretty well, and I've been running around with this for about 2 years now, so must be doing something right. Next, another thing you can think of, right, because we already established trying to get your jacket up if you've got an elasticized bottom to an appendix position or even to a behind the hip position can be problematic just because that elastic pulls it tight to the body, and it's harder to get a hold of it to pull it up. You can absolutely use your jacket so long as the weather cooperates as an open front concealment garment, which we've already discussed. But what if it gets too cold for all of that? Now, if it gets cold enough when Southerners like me are pulling out the bibs, it's real damn cold. All right, at least for us. I know. You Northerners will tell us we don't know what cold is. Well, let me tell you as a native Southerner, if what's down here ain't what cold is, and I don't want to know what cold is. It's cold enough here. So, I've got an exemplar pistol. This is not exactly one that I would recommend doing this with. It's just what I had in the cabinet, so, and the size works, and I've tested the theory. Clear? And that would be my Walther P22. Yes, I know. There's no magazine in it, but a Walther P22 isn't supposed to do this. Yeah, I took magazine disconnect out. So, I grabbed this as an exemplar. The ideal platform for what I'm about to show you about is the concealed hammer, like the Ruger LCR or Smith & Wesson Centennial series. Examples of that being the 442, 642, old 42, 340 M&P, 640, 640 Pro, right? You get the picture. The fully shrouded hammer, not the ones with the slot, not the bodyguard setup, but the Centennial series. All right, that is ideal for that because with this semi-auto, what I'm going to show you, this, where the slide goes to the rear during cycling, would present a problem. Now, whether your coat is open or closed, if it's cold, standing with your hands in your coat pocket is not a problem. But if you have something in that pocket, well, things can change a little bit, can't they? So if I've got something in this pocket, right? Yeah, it's a little bit more obvious than it might be otherwise, but we can go ahead and be preemptively ready. Right? As you saw, I was standing there with my hand in my pocket, finger on the trigger. So, coat pocket draw, very good thing. So, what if you do have that shoulder rig, that belt rig, that appendix rig? Well, pre-assault indicators are your friend. Because if you start noticing things that make you feel the need to get out of the situation, all right, you can be cold for a few minutes. Something don't look right. Now I can go ahead and rip my shirt up like I normally would, throw my garment back, cut in to get to behind the hip rig, right? The coat pocket pistol is for when you don't have that opportunity. Or if that would look suspicious, right? When it's 15 degrees outside and someone unzips their coat, that is not normal, all right? So you don't want to do that. But standing there when it's really cold with your hand in your pocket, well, that is normal. Enter the coat pocket special. Now, this right here, certainly not ideal to the task. One, it's only a 22, okay? Two, it's a self-floater, meaning this slide, every time you fire, goes all the way to the rear and then snaps forward. So if my coat pocket lining were to decide to insert itself right about here, case in point, paper towel, okay. All right, it just pushed it out of the way. But that's paper towel. Coat linings can and may find themselves, that one actually did hang up in there. Hanging up in these high rates of speed, and either one cause it to short stroke because the coat lining is pulled tight and close by and doesn't let it go all the way to the rear, or it may bunch up here by the muzzle and cause it to stall. So, not ideal to use a self-loader for a coat pocket gun, but you can do it. You just have to be mindful of a few things. So, now I got that loaded again. This is why I say the revolver is ideal for that, especially the hammerless or concealed hammer versions, because there's no slide to catch on it, there's no hammer spur to catch on it. All right, get yourself a decent revolver, throw it in your coat pocket, and you got your really good party starter that will buy you some time if you need to in a pinch to get your coat unzipped, or to go ahead and make sure you slow down long enough to get a good positive grip on that garment to pull your layers up to expose your primary weapon so that you can go ahead and get that drawn in the fight. I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying it's not a bad thing to think about. All right, so one good thing about cold weather, you are wearing more clothes. You can carry more gun. You may need to carry more gun. Now, let's look at ammunition for a minute. This is obviously my carry load. Matter of fact, I'll do one better than that. My actual everyday carry gun right here with the round that I choose to keep in the chamber, like y'all saw. Matter of fact, it won't go in. This isn't staged, okay? This is my actual round that went in the chamber had I left the house today to go anywhere other here at the shop. All right? Conventional jacketed hollow point. To be specific, Winchester Ranger, RA9TA, 127 grain plus P plus, T-Series jacketed hollow point. Hot weapon. And I'm sure some of y'all are wondering why I've said hot weapon. It reminds me that I'm not dry firing. So, what did we notice there? We got that hollow cavity that when your round is traveling downrange ends up meeting the resistance of soft tissue, specifically hydraulic resistance from fluid, and that causes it to start to rupture and deform to the point where the hollow point opens up, the petals expand outward, causing the bullet to rapidly decelerate and thus be more likely to stay inside the body of the offender that has targeted us for crime that is now paying for their miscreant actions, right? So what happens when that gets clogged? Well, with modern duty grade jacketed hollow point, not much. With some of the older stuff out there, which is some of it's still in production, is more value line type of stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. This is just something to keep in mind. When you're wearing more insulation, right, such as this insulated jacket, like compared to this grid fleece right here, and more layers of material, you are more likely to have that bullet clog and turn into hardball. So where I'm at, you know what? It don't get so cold. There's not so much insulation I need to worry about, right? But if I lived in like the Great White North, Montana, places like that, then I might look very seriously about having a bigger caliber, because if it's going to end up turning into hardball from getting plugged up, I'd rather it turn into big hardball. That's just my thought. Your mileage may vary. It's just something to keep in mind. The next thing to think about, and the reason why bigger calibers in cold climates is not a bad idea, is when human beings get really cold, our blood vessels constrict. All right, it's called vasoconstriction. And that is done to basically keep our blood from cooling off too quickly and accelerating the effects of hypothermia. That happens autonomously by the human body. It just happens, right? So if the blood vessels constrict, they're smaller and harder to hit. Thus, the slightly bigger bullet, especially when you're talking about expanding ammunition, assuming that it expands, it has more lead to spread, so it tends to open up wider and is thus more likely to cut and rupture some of those major blood vessels that a smaller bullet might have missed. So in cold weather, the larger calibers, 10 millimeter, 40, 45 ACP, the larger diameter bullets, or conventional service caliber bullets driven at really high velocity, so the bullet tends to open up faster and wider. Think 357 SIG here. Those start to have a lot more merit. So, I'm not saying that your 9mm is not going to work in cold weather. I mean, it's cold weather right now, and my everyday carry is a 9mm year-round. So, I'm not saying that by no means. I'm just saying if you live somewhere where extreme cold weather is the norm, maybe a larger caliber is for you. Maybe not necessarily year-round, but definitely in the winter, it's something that you should consider. So, gun stuff, that kind of covers it. Now we're going to move on to, next week we're going to do knives. We're going to do knives next week. That's going to release, well, because I'm doing this a couple days late, that's going to end up releasing, next week. We'll do it next week, whatever. So it's going to release next week. If you're watching this new on YouTube, Patreon saw it a month ago, at least. Patreon's going to see this about Christmas. Patreon's going to see it in November. YouTube's going to see it public in December 2022. So right around New Year's, YouTube subscribers, Patreon, right around Thanksgiving, y'all are going to go on ahead and see some knife stuff. So It's Kenny Smith with Total Force Holdings. Hope you enjoy yourself. Try and stay warm in all this mess. Stay safe, stay frosty, stay dangerous.